Are data cycles an effective way to implement data-driven instruction? Over the last few years, a big focus in education has been on data-driven instruction. As a result, many school systems are adopting action plans that include strategies to help achieve this task. Engage NY, which is part of the New York State Education Department, states that data-driven instruction and inquiry is a precise and systematic approach to improving student learning throughout their year. Their cycle includes assessment, analysis, and action. Newton County's action plan also includes similar steps. Their cycle begins with analyzing pre-assessment data, then they move to instruction, common assessments, and then analyzing data again before conducting enrichment and remediation. One method of implementing data-driven instruction is using data cycles. In data cycles, students are placed in ability level groups where they will receive enrichment or remediation based on their level. In many cases, these groups are formed throughout an entire grade level, and the students receive instructions from teachers other than their homeroom teacher. How do children feel about working with another teacher?
They loved it, actually. Every day they would ask if they could go to the teacher they were with the day before. So they actually look forward to it, and when we stopped doing it, they were a little bit disappointed.
My children enjoyed working with another teacher during data cycles. They were able to interact with different students in a different environment and hear the content delivered in a different way.
How did the teacher feel about their students working with another teacher?
I enjoyed it because I think where I couldn't reach them, that another teacher would reach them, and they end up learning more. Not that I couldn't teach them properly, it's just that my strategies wasn't working, so someone else was able to meet them at the gap.
I was excited for my students to have the opportunity to work with a different teacher. There are many different learning styles, and my students learn in different ways. I felt confident with the team members that I work with, and knowing that they would understand the content and be able to effectively deliver it so that my students could have a better understanding.
Another teacher interviewed stated, "I had to let go of my control and know that my team members would do their best." How many data cycles have you been a part of?
It was 2 in math, and if you count the phonics, the way we're doing the phonics, then we'll have that would be a total of 5, because we did 3 in the phonics as well.
About how long does each data cycle last?
With the math, it lasts 1 week. So we would test them on Monday, that's the pre-test, and then we would work with them Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, retest them again with the same exact test that we gave them on Monday. We would retest them again on Friday, and that's the one that we would actually grade, and we could see the growth. With the phonics, depending on what phonics area you're in, it could last anywhere between 15 days to an entire month.
This data cycle lasted for about 3 weeks. We planned it for the entire Westward Expansion Unit. However, we did provide an assessment halfway through so that we could move our students as needed. Some students came down to reach a remediation level, while some students went up to reach a higher level.
What kind of planning goes into a data cycle?
Well, first we had to do a pre-test to justify where the kids were going to be, and then after we justified where the kids would be, we then met as a team and we grouped them with high, medium, and low. And then we would ask which teacher wanted to do what, and then we would pick a specific topic in that area, and we would know, okay, we have to either drop this lower, stay on grade level, or boost it up a little bit higher. With the phonics, it was a little bit different because the phonics is broken down into different areas in the phonics. So we would still do a phonics test on the phonics inventory, and then we would group them based on where they needed more help, and we'd work with them for several weeks and go back and test them.
When planning for the data cycles, as a team, we met and came up with a common assessment, and we delivered that as a pre-assessment for our students. After grading it, reviewing that, seeing where our students are, we created groups based on their needs and where they were currently. As a team, we met and we planned each level together so that we were all teaching similar content and the same content, but in a different way to meet the needs for the remediation students as well as providing enrichment activities.
The 4th grade teachers that I talked to were able to give me a glimpse inside their data cycle by providing me with some examples of the types of instructional materials that were used. The teachers began by administering a pre-assessment to their individual classes. Once the pre-assessments were graded, the teachers met together as a team to divide up their classes into groups based on the scores from the pre-assessment. They guided their instruction through the use of interactive flip charts, videos, and PowerPoint. They also utilized interactive notes. At the midpoint of the unit, the teachers gave their students a quiz. After analyzing the results of the quiz, they made some adjustments to the groups. Then they completed the unit with the new groups of students. How effective was the data cycle in improving student growth?
Actually saw a lot of growth where we have second grade this year have a bunch of low students. So even the low kids got to where they needed to be in that subject area. So we really loved the growth that we saw.
I felt like the data cycle was effective overall for improving students' growth. I feel like as teachers, being our first time doing this, next time we would make some slight adjustments to improve. However, because the groups were homogeneously mixed, they were able to receive the content they needed, and the teachers were able to focus in and help the students grow at their level and meet the students at where they were.
Another teacher stated, "All but one of my students showed growth." How does a data cycle compare to the enrichment and remediation that normally takes place in your classroom?
Because we only have X amount of time with our students when we're doing enrichment or remediation in our class, I don't feel like for us really we're doing them justice. But with the data cycle, everyone was on the same playing field. So even though they may have gotten a little bit more remediation in that class as well, there was more time to address all the kids that were basically on the same level and not make them feel like they were being rushed. And with the acceleration, those kids, you just give them a little bit extra and you can see their brains at work. So it was really good.
When working through the data cycle with the students, I feel that while it is similar in the differentiation, the enrichment opportunities, and the remediation activities that our students are provided with, we were able to, as teachers, zone in and look more specifically with what those students need. For example, with my higher students receiving the enrichment activities, they could take it even a step farther, and I was excited for that opportunity for them. With the remediation activities, we were able to focus in more on the vocabulary words, looking at the content vocabulary that they had to understand, and help them with where they were at as well.
Another teacher interviewed stated, "It is more work on the front end because you don't know the students, whereas in my classroom, I already know everyone." What would you do differently?
Differently, I can't honestly say that I would do anything differently because we saw the growth. So aside from making sure certain kids that really don't work well with each other, being in the same room, that's about the only difference I would do. But other than that, it was a perfect actual cycle.
If I was to do this differently, I would only look at my bottom level students and look at the skills that they need help with, the skills that they are struggling with, and have them actually push out into other classrooms to meet in small group so that there was 4 to 6 students meeting with one teacher working on a single skill, and have them working with that skill for a short amount of time. It may only last a week or 2 weeks.
As the focus continues to be on data-driven instruction, will data cycles like these become a more common trend, or will something else take their place?